Good morning, everyone, and welcome to NYSE TV Live. I'm Kristen Schuller here in studio at the Stock Exchange. We do see equities fractionally higher this morning after the S&P 500 did edge lower for the fifth time in the past 6 sessions yesterday. Well, in an interview Tuesday morning, President Donald Trump said that he plans to unveil new tariffs on semiconductors, quote, within the next week or so, end quote. In that same interview, Trump threatened to implement a 250% tariff on pharmaceutical products imported to the U.S. Well, investors continue to follow the latest earnings activity, including what is happening with NYSE-listed industry giants. Disney reporting better than expected results this morning. McDonald's and Uber headlining the rest of the activity today. As of August 1st, 82% of the S&P 500 companies recorded have exceeded earnings expectations and 79% have exceeded revenue estimates. That's according to FactSet. We'll continue to cover these earnings, and let's take a look at what else is on tap this hour. NYSE-listed ZETA Global reported its second quarter results yesterday afternoon. Its CEO, David Steinberg, is going to join us from the trading floor to explain what investors should be taking away from the results. And in celebration of Singapore's 60th anniversary on August 9th, we're spotlighting influential leaders and firms representing Singapore's global presence, which includes our parent company, Intercontinental Exchange. Maria Levanti, of course, president and COO of ICE Futures Singapore, is going to tell us what the company is focused on in the region. Then at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, NYSE-listed BlackBerry, as you might be able to see behind me, is set to ring the opening bell. And later in the show, the CEO will be on the floor with our Ashley Masternardi to break down the company's game plan for the rest of the year. We'll begin with markets, as we always do, and stocks are fractionally higher as we await the market open. Joining me now with more is Dale Smothers. He's the founder and CEO of RDS Wealth. Dale, it's good to have you joining us this morning from Kentucky. Thank you very much. What do you make of the market at these levels?
Good morning, Kristen. Yeah, you know, these levels, they show a little bit of a pause. And let me just recap kind of what we've went through. The average investor is looking at their 401k statements, they're looking at their brokerage statements, and they're seeing their statements significantly higher coming out of July. July did not disappoint us. Over almost 2.5% on the S&P 500. Many mega cap names led us higher with their earnings that were substantially surprising to the upside. This is a great thing for the average investor, and many of the average investors may see their numbers higher, but not really understand why. Earnings was a big driver. Another big driver, Kristen, was the fact that trade really started to seem as if it was going to clear up. The trade tensions around the world seemed as if things were about to kind of get placed where they needed to be. Well, over the last 4 or 5 days, just like you said, we have had a pause. And this pause, from our perspective, seems to be a healthy pause, although it does have reasons, and the reasons are a little bit more tension in the trade environment, a little bit more uncertainty about the labor market. We had one of the worst negative revisions in the labor report in over half a century. This is a significant thing that caused pause to those who are maybe a little bit more informed investors. They're concerned about what potential companies may do in reacting to these types of pieces of data that come out. And couple that with the fact that, you know, we have earnings that are still showing better than expected Q2, but with trade war uncertainties kind of creeping back in, what does that mean for Q3? This has caused a lot of investors to maybe push the pause button for just a second on the buys that they would have possibly been doing otherwise, Kristen.
Yeah, and in this market, given that scenario, Dale, that you just laid out, how are you advising your clients, those that you speak with, too, when it comes to positioning for August and September?
Yeah, you know, we're keeping a close eye on the rest of earnings. We've got a big name in NVIDIA, clearly, that does drive the market. Tech is going to lead the market higher. For the clients that we work with here at RDS Wealth, predominantly, we're looking at generating solid income, predictable returns, stable value type of investments. We have a little bit of that speculative money, of course, that we believe AI is going to be the place to put that type of money. But right now, if you're looking for strong, stable dividend companies, there are those that are still out there that are not appreciating at the S&P 500 returns, but they're still paying strong dividends. And these quarterly reports that we're seeing come out show that those dividends are fairly secure, if you will. They're not likely to go anywhere. We see companies that are raising dividends. If you're not familiar with picking individual names, maybe if you're an individual investor out there trying to find the right one, look at ETFs perhaps, like NOBL, that is a dividend aristocrat type of stock that you can buy, has a lot of different names in it that have appreciating dividends. What we're looking at, Kristen, right now is for those types of stable returns, places that maybe will weather this pause until the S&P 500 takes a leg up a little bit higher, which I believe happens closer to the end of this month as we start to see, again, NVIDIA, one that we are keeping a close eye on, that could spar that little bit of momentum back into the market that we're looking for.
Dale, certainly among the NYSE listed community, we see 3 stocks, shares, I should say, performing well here in the wake of what was better than expected results for NYSE listed Disney, Uber, and McDonald's this morning. When it comes to these corporate results and how these companies are weathering tariffs and, of course, what does appear to be a slowing economy based on the jobs revisions, what is important to hear from these executives as we await NVIDIA's report and the rest of earnings season to unfold?
What we're listening for, Kristen, is forward guidance. And the uncertainty for Q3 may cause a lot of these names to kind of go on sale if we look at their stock price. The uncertainty around what is to come with tariffs, what is to come with a Fed rate cut. These are certainly going to be things that we're listening to as earnings season wraps up. A lot of the forward guidance that we heard from CEOs in prior earnings calls has been fairly optimistic. So I'm concerned with what we're going to hear over the next, say, month of earnings calls with the new data that we see from the labor market. Does that mean that a lot of employers perhaps will start laying off, knowing that the economy is starting to slow? AI itself is certainly causing the market to go higher, but is AI going to potentially be an alternative for places for them to look to fill jobs that maybe human beings aren't filling? And again, cutting costs with that. Artificial intelligence is one that is certainly leading us higher. And to take it to that, Kristen, I'll tell you, we're paying very close attention to the AI race and what it has to offer.
We are watching that AI race very closely indeed. Dale, we got to leave it there, but thank you so much for joining us this morning. That's Dale Smothers, founder and CEO of RDS Wealth.
Thank you, Kristen.
Thanks again. All right, everyone, stay with us because we have much more after the break. ZETA Global's CEO is going to join us from the trading floor following his company's latest earnings report, and we'll hear what that company has to say on the other side.
At ICE, we aim to solve some of the biggest problems in markets. Often these issues come down to a lack of transparency because a market doesn't have the right technology, data, or systems. We address this by digitizing analog markets. Digitizing markets brings transparency. At the heart of this is our technology. It's the same technology which underpins our trading venues, that powers the New York Stock Exchange, that drives our fixed income pricing, and our mortgage platform. Deep trust in our markets has made us the world's largest exchange for energy trading. Our exchanges price the world's most important commodities, many of which support the shift to lower carbon fuels. In mortgages, we operate across the life of a loan. Through electronification, we're making the home buying process faster and simpler. And through our data, we're bringing new transparency to mortgage securities. We're bringing you powerful, fast technology, access to a depth of market data. We're building liquid markets across asset classes and geographies, and we're listening to our customers every day about what you need.
Welcome back to NYSE TV Live, everyone. On Tuesday afternoon, NYSE-listed ZETA Global reported its second quarter results. That included a 35% bump in year-on-year revenue, and shares are up about 15% here in extended trading. Well, I do want to send things down to the trading floor, where my colleague Ashley Masternardi is joined by ZETA Global with more. Ashley, good morning.
Good morning, Kristen. We are at the booth where ZETA Global trades. Every company that lists at the New York Stock Exchange has a dedicated booth and dedicated market maker. ZETA Global released their earnings less than 24 hours ago. I'm joined now by their CEO, co-founder, and chair, David Steinberg. David, welcome to the New York Stock Exchange.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always an honor to be here.
So tell me, what does ZETA Global do, and how do you leverage agentic AI in your services for customers?
So our main function is to solve a major multi-billion dollar problem. What we're really doing is using data and artificial intelligence to help very large enterprises create, maintain, and monetize customers at a substantially lower cost than they can without us.
So can you give me some tangible examples of the learnings that businesses will have if they're using your service?
Yeah, so the great thing about agentic AI is if you can string the agents together into a multi-agent workflow, they can really enrich and make things substantially smarter. And I mean orders of magnitude smarter, Ashley. So literally, we help large automotive companies sell more cars. We help credit card companies issue more credit cards. We help insurance companies issue more policies. We help wireless companies keep their subscribers longer, all by understanding what do the 240 million plus Americans opted into our data cloud intend to do next.
How are you aggregating this data?
So we have a data cloud that is one of the largest in the world. We've bought or built over 20 different platforms that collect, create, and monetize data. One of the really interesting things about our data cloud, and I think is confusing to a lot of people, is yes, we've built this data repository in the US of over 240 million opted-in Americans, but we never sell our data to anybody at any price at any time. We keep the data private, but it's the fuel that powers our software sales. And it's one of the reasons I think we continue to win meaningfully in the marketplace.
So you released your earnings yesterday afternoon, 4:30 p.m. What does this say for investors?
Well, we released them at 4:05. We spoke at 4:30. Listen, we grew the business 35%, 27% organically. We grew EBITDA by 52%, and we grew free cash flow by 69%. We then raised guidance by $21 million this year and raised free cash flow by the largest raise we've ever had. What I would tell you is that financial results are outputs. The input is the business working? Are you solving major problems for your clients? And what we're doing is we're helping these very large enterprises, and they're massively moving budget to us. So while that's happening, you're seeing the outputs, which are the financial results, which we're very, very good.
You also released the July ZETA Economic Index yesterday. You say it captures what makes consumers tick. How is this aggregating data? How is it aggregating data, and how is that data being used?
Say that 3 times fast, right? No, the ZETA Economic Index was created to showcase that we're tracking 240 million plus Americans. What are they researching? What are they reading? All of their credit card transactions, where are they going physically? And it converts it into what's going to happen with the economy next. And in a world where economic statistics have become questionable across the board, the ZETA Economic Index has been right 18 months in a row about where the economy was going. And we believe the economy continues to be very, very strong, as we're seeing with the results at ZETA.
In 30 seconds, what is next for ZETA?
We're going to continue to build out agentic workflows. We've already strung together 3 agents into one solution. One agent can build an audience, one can see where do they best target them, and the third is informing them in real time what's working from an attribution perspective. That's 2 to 3 orders, 10 to 100 times more intelligent. We're going to continue to deploy those solutions for our enterprise clients, and we're going to continue to win in the marketplace.
David Steinberg, CEO, Chair, and co-founder of ZETA Global, thank you so much for joining us at the New York Stock Exchange.
Thank you so much for having me. Once again, this is a building that when I was a kid, I would walk by and hope one day to enter.
Thank you. It's always an exciting day on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. Kristen, back to you.
Ashley Mastronardi down there on the floor with ZETA Global CEO. Ashley, thank you. All right, well, a great day for ZETA shares. Up next, as Singapore prepares to celebrate its 60th birthday this weekend, we are going to take a closer look at the work that our parent company, Intercontinental Exchange, is doing in the region. Stay with us.
Launch team is ready to proceed at this time.
You have permission to launch.
FPU is go. LRD is go. SRO is go. CDR is go.
Ignition sequence start. Engines on.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Liftoff. We have liftoff.
Hosting this event is a tremendous honor for us at the New York Stock Exchange. We like to remind people that our nation and our markets grew up side by side.
Lynn, thanks to you and the Stock Exchange for permitting us all to gather. It's so good to be back here.
But tonight, it's not just another elegant dinner among distinguished peers. It is a turning point in the history of the Medal of Honor.
We're honored to be in the presence of nearly 20 of our nation's 61 living Medal of Honor recipients.
This evening marks a renewal, a reaffirmation of our mission, and a call to action for all of us who are entrusted with carrying this legacy forward.
Because of people like you, we are able to do what we do every day, to turn that dream into a reality.
Welcome back to NYSE TV Live, everyone. The NYSE sponsored July's Winning the AI Race Summit in our nation's capital. At the event, which was co-hosted by All In and the Hill and Valley Forum, the NYSE spoke to more than a dozen AI leaders about the future of the technology. That includes Allen Control Systems co-founder Stephen Simoni, who told me how AI advancements are giving his robotic defense company a boost. Let's take a look.
Well, I'm really happy to be here, Kristen. My main investor, David Sachs, is one of the sponsors, and he invited me to come. But also, my company, Allen Control Systems, we make an AI machine gun, so it's very relevant to the topic. So that's probably why he invited me as well. Well, I want to see what the administration and what people in government think where industry needs to go with AI, and get their feedback, and then share where we're going, what we're building. And so I think it's a good collaboration environment to do that. Yeah. So basically, we make a robotic gun system. So the AI is actually used to control and point the gun at the drone. So the biggest problem right now is that in China, they're making 1 drone per second, and the drones are very fast and lethal. And so this gun is used effectively to find those drones, target them, and shoot at them. And so that AI is very critical in doing that. Oh yeah, the product is working right now. It's actually going to be demoed today for the Department of Homeland Security with my team over in West Virginia. So we're out there, we're working with the Army, Navy, and Marine Corps on vehicle integrations, and we're selling it overseas. So next steps right now is to finish fully productionizing the build, so it's weatherproof, shock and vibe proof, and so that it's ready to be in the battlefield, in an environment where there's missiles and bombs and stuff hitting it. So it's really rugged. Finishing that up in the next couple months, and then scale production. Well, he can't be that hands-on because of conflict, so he's not on the board, obviously. It's another craft member. But David is a big champion of this. He values great products. That's why he made the initial investment, is that he's a product guy at heart. I don't know if you know that, but He's always looking for products that are needed in the world. So when I went to his office to pitch him on this, he immediately recognized that we needed something cost-effective to defeat the Chinese drone threat. And so we handshook right there instantly. Yeah, I mean, it's staggering. I really can't sleep at night, to be honest. Like the amount of drones that are produced in Iran, Russia, and China is so vast compared to the US. We can't produce anything anymore. I was at a conference last week called Reindustrialize. It's about reindustrializing America. The fact that we had to have a conference about that shows you how messed up this is. And we're not even close. Like, we probably won't be able to catch up for like at least 10 years. Well, winning in AI is different. So luckily, in the robotics and the manufacturing, we're probably not going to win anytime soon. But in AI, which is software-based, we have the lead. We're already in the lead. It's about keeping the lead. There's nothing worse than squandering a lead. So, I mean, that feels bad. Like, I would hate that. And so, yeah, what we need to do is continue the investment because we're already ahead. We have the best universities, the best software engineers, and I think it's ours to lose. I think we're probably one of the best defense products in the last 30 years. You're all going to see it everywhere. You don't need to know, you'll just see it. It's happening.
Thanks again to Allen Control Systems co-founder Stephen Simoni for that interview. And be sure to watch more content from July's event across our social and OTT platforms. In some other news, in celebration of Singapore's 60th anniversary on August 9th, we're going to be spotlighting influential leaders and companies that represent Singapore's global presence and stand at the forefront of shaping innovation with meaningful impact. That includes the NYSE's parent company, Intercontinental Exchange, or ICE for short. And joining us now is Maria Levanti, President and COO of ICE Futures Singapore. Maria, wonderful to have you on the show this morning. Of course, joining from Singapore. What more can you share about ICE's history in Singapore?
Thank you, Kristen. Thank you for having me and for spotlighting Singapore companies. ICE's history in Singapore is, I think, very much like in other locations, a history of acquisitions as well as organic growth. We began serving customers in the energy space globally in the year 2000. In 2014, we acquired the Singapore Mercantile Exchange and Clearinghouse, ICE Futures Singapore and ICE Clear Singapore. The first time that ICE had exchange and clearinghouse infrastructure in Asia. However, in reality, ICE really goes back to the mid-80s. There was a data company that Interactive Data acquired, and Interactive Data was later acquired by ICE, forming ICE Fixed Income and Data Services, which together with the footprint that Singapore had with the acquisitions of Creditex and Super Derivatives formed that division. So Singapore is interesting because I feel like it's a microcosm of ICE. We have employees from pretty much all of the divisions within ICE, futures, clearing, all the way to fixed income and data, ICE bonds, ICE digital trade. Of course, the New York Stock Exchange, we're all under one roof, having Singapore as our hub.
It's an amazing story. Maria, what is ICE focused on now in the region?
Yeah, so Singapore is obviously a very big energy trading hub, and ICE operates the largest and most liquid marketplace for energy, and we're really the only exchange that offers the full suite of oil, natural gas, and environmental products. So we're very much focused around catering to our customers in Singapore and Asia Pacific when it comes to hedging their energy risks, with global benchmarks as well as local benchmarks as supply chains evolve. Specifically in Asia, we've got contracts here that are well known in the market. So the ICE JKM, which is the benchmark for natural gas, Newcastle coal from Australia, as well as Japanese power. And of course, customers in Singapore and in fact broadly, they trade our global benchmarks in energy, Brent, WTI, Midland WTI, Murban, as well as the Dubai contracts. On the fixed income side, Singapore's business is very much aligned with the global strategy. So we're focused on offering our customers access to our global network, fixed income and data and analytics, as well as indices, which has been an area of growth for us in the last few years.
Where do you see the opportunity for ICE and the NYSE in APAC in the future?
Okay, so Asia Pacific is obviously becoming a growing hub. There's a financial, capital markets, energy center, and ICE out of Singapore is very well positioned to cater to those demands. I'd like to start with the NYSE really, because I think the extended hours that we're intending to introduce at the NYSE ARCA to let investors trade around the clock is an important initiative that is really driven out of retail demand coming out of Asia. And it's important because it's effectively compelled the US to change the market structure to allow all investors around the world to trade during extended hours. On the future side, I feel like in Singapore, we were going to continue to support our global operations in terms of delivering on global benchmarks. But we're also going to be looking for opportunities to introduce regional products. And then on the data side, very much aligned with the other two initiatives, we're looking at providing data analytics, reference data, corporate actions on the back of extended equity trading hours. We're looking at providing data on futures, and of course, the index business will continue to grow on the back of proliferation of passive investing.
Maria Levanti, President and COO of ICE Futures Singapore. Maria, thank you so much for joining us around the world. We appreciate it. Thank you. All right, everyone, well, stay with us because up next, we're going to count you down to the opening bell here on Wall Street.
History of capital markets, the foundation of the dollar economy. We wanted to be here. This is a successful IPO. We have so much ahead of us. This doesn't happen without the extraordinary efforts of the people here. With that, let's go!
So today is a new chapter. Today is a new age.
Circle is building the foundation of our new economic system. We deeply believe we can raise global economic prosperity. We can change the outcomes of people's lives. I am so thrilled for this next chapter to begin today with all of you in this historic building.
"40 years, 40 million meals served across the city. That's no small feat. Your organization is so important, and we're so thankful that you are part of New York City."
I am so excited to be stepping in this role, mostly because of all of you, the 150 people that are back at our office actually working this morning, and the 23,000+ volunteers that come in and out of that building every year, and of course, the thousands and thousands of clients that we help every single day because of all of your hard work.
All right, welcome back to NYSE Live, everyone. You are just taking a live look there at BlackBerry, ringing the opening bell. The equity markets officially open for trade there, packed podium, and we do see fractional gains across the board. Several NYSE-listed companies reporting better than expected results this morning. That includes Disney, Uber, and yes, McDonald's. And stocks certainly catching a reprieve today. Joining me now to talk more about this market is Michael Landsberg, CIO at Landsberg Bennett Private Wealth Management. Thank you so much for joining, sir, this morning from Punta Gorda, Florida. What do you make of the market at these levels?
Chris, I think we've expected the earnings to decelerate from last quarter to this quarter, but we were more optimistic than I think the rest of Wall Street. So I think what you're seeing is you're seeing companies beat because I think people had lowered the bar too low. And I think this sets up for a pretty good quarter of earnings where things are going to outperform and beat expectations.
Yeah, certainly we see those NYSE-listed stocks doing well this morning, as I mentioned, after better than expected results. I want to ask you how trade factors into all of this. We saw the August 1st deadline. Some of those levies ramped up to as high as 41%, yet trade deals are simultaneously getting done. How does that factor in, and where do we stand?
I think a lot of the trade, tariff talk is basically whipping this market around. I think at the end of the day, fundamentals drive stock price returns. So we focus on the earnings because those are actually legitimately going to happen. The problem with some of these tariffs is, we're moving the goalposts around. Really tough to trade those, and it becomes more of a trader's market that way. We're looking at the earnings. Like I said, I think people discounted the effective trade too much on this quarter's earnings. I think the estimates are too low, and they're outperforming not just NYSE, S&P 500, but also when we look at NASDAQ and even small cap stocks are going to really have good acceleration in year-over-year growth, I think because the bar was too low.
Yeah, and the Fed, of course, is a factor in all of this, and we had seen what was a disappointing jobs report on Friday, not just for the month of July, but drastic downward revisions, in fact, just job gains in the tens of thousands. That is for both June and May. Where does that leave the Fed, of course, going into Jackson Hole at the end of the month and its next planned rate decision in September?
Yeah, I think the Fed really is kind of in a tough spot. I don't know if if it was a different president and there was not as much push on lowering rates, if we'd be having these discussions, simply because unemployment, other than the last report or so, has been pretty solid. Unemployment's around 4%. Inflation's in check at 2.5, 2.6, somewhere in that area. I just don't know if you're going to see them do much. I think September is probably up in the air. I do think they're going to probably end up cutting before the end of the year. But I look at kind of what rate cuts do. I mean, stocks are near all-time highs. Risk assets are near kind of back in play. You're seeing IPOs, meme stocks. We don't need any more animal spirits to come back in the market with a rate cut or 2 or 3. So I think they're going to be in a wait and see. I think they're going to be on the cautious side. But I think obviously, language is important. I think what they're going to come out of with Jackson Hole is going to be really framed. For the first time in 30 years, you saw dissent on the FOMC committee. Saw 2 people wanted to actually cut rates. So I think we're heading in that direction. I just don't think we get there in September.
Yeah, it has been certainly a step-by-step process in this rate path, that's for sure. Michael, amid this environment, you're seeing better than expected earnings, corporate America hanging in there. Which sectors do you think could be poised to outperform?
I think what's interesting to us right now, for like 3 years, I've been hearing about how great small caps were. We were anti small caps for a while. Everybody on the street seemed to be positive. Right now, small caps seeing accelerating growth year over year in earnings, but it's one of the most negative positions I've seen on the street in years. I mean, very, very short positions in looking at futures on the small cap. I think they're attractive. I think you're starting to see some earnings growth, and basically the sentiment is so negative on it. I think they're attractive. I think international is attractive. I think you want to look at the under-owned areas. Also, S&P 500 versus NASDAQ. We like NASDAQ names, but boy, everybody owns them. Maybe you want to broaden your exposure a bit. I think it can go outside of kind of the traditional, whether it's Mag 7 or whether it's traditional mega caps, to look for some areas to broaden your exposure.
What about financials? Of course, deregulation is a major factor that the president campaigned on. We've seen financials be volatile amid the volatility that we've seen in general this year. But is that a sector that you think could be primed well if we do see a further recovery here in stocks?
Absolutely. One of the stocks that I focused on when I sent you some notes was Interactive Brokers. I think actually financials will do well. In particular, I think they're a company that's really poised to continue to do well as trading increases. They're expanding their international footprint. A high margin business. I mean, they're in the business of basically making money, and they do a really good job at that. Their technology is first rate. So I think there's some areas in financials that make money. In particular, we really like that one because it's levered more to trading, and we're seeing more and more trading. I mean, the volume that you see on the NYSE in these markets now is historic. It's a lot of volume, and I think companies like that are poised to take advantage of that, I think, are in a great spot. And deregulation is going to help financial services. It's a very regulated business, some would argue over-regulated, and if you could free up some of that capital to not spend on compliance, I think it could be a positive for that entire sector.
Michael Landsberg, CIO at Landsberg Bennett Private Wealth Management. Thank you so much for joining us this morning down there in Florida.
Thanks, Kristen.
All right, everyone, still to come. NYSE listed Easterly Government Properties delivered its latest results on Tuesday, and its CEO, Daryl Crate, is going to join me here in studio to talk about what his firm has planned as it works with the U.S. government and its partners. Plus, Opal Security was named to Notable Capital's Rising in Cyber list, and its CEO told us what problem her platform is solving for clients. Later on, we're going to go back to the trading floor where BlackBerry's chief executive will break down the company's strategy for the months ahead. You just saw BlackBerry up there on the opening bell podium. Stay with us.
Today, we officially begin our journey as NYSE.
Now you're part of our 2,400 companies listed on the New York Stock Exchange platform.
This milestone is thanks to all of you. We've established ourselves as a market leader.
And you stand at the forefront of building materials across North America.
Today, NYSE becomes the partner of choice for the professional builder of North America. As NYSE, we rise every day, and we are investing right here to help build that ambition.
How did this little company that was struggling 4 years ago get to this stage? In 2025, here we are today.
Congratulations, you priced above the range, you opened up 39%, you closed up 45%.
We're just getting started, and we look forward to proving ourselves to you over and over again.
Today, we honor this new responsibility, and we are celebrating not this IPO, but the people that got us here.
So we'll continue to innovate, we'll continue to push the boundaries.
This is not the end, this is the beginning of a new chapter.
Welcome back to NYSE Live. Well, NYSE TV Live. On Tuesday, NYSE listed Easterly Government Properties reported its second quarter results, and the firm, which started trading on the exchange back in 2015, acquires, develops, and manages commercial properties leased to the U.S. government. Joining me now in studio with more is Daryl Crate, Easterly Government Properties CEO and President. Daryl, welcome.
Hey, great to be here. Nice to see you.
Yeah, good to see you as well, and thanks for joining as always. Let's start with the results, earnings. How does recent performance reflect the company's long-term strategy?
Yeah, no, great question. And this was really a steady-as-she-goes quarter. If you've been following Easterly Government Properties, you know that we focus on mission-critical facilities for the U.S. government. These are things like FBI regional offices, DEA drug labs, all sorts of law enforcement related and defense related buildings. In government, there's significant modernization going on leasing and how it works. And what we show through our earnings is that it's a very stable cash flow stream. We have a strong dividend at 8%, and we continue to pay that with plenty of cash flow coverage, and folks were really pleased to see the results.
How is the federal government's leasing modernization initiative shaping the future of public real estate? And how is your company responding?
Yeah, I mean, there's been big changes. As you know, DOGE was a factor as President Trump came in, and the idea was to find efficiency in government. One of the strategies that we've had for about 10 years in the company's growth is to align ourselves with government where it's next to the people. And accordingly, you're seeing the Trump administration and DOGE realize getting out of Washington's the right answer, and bring agents, bring the government closer to the people where they can serve the country well.
In today's higher interest rate environment, how is Easterly positioned compared to other commercial real estate players?
No, it's a great question. And we have a very long liability maturities, so we're very well match funded. But the truth is that we are a full faith and credit company with that all of our tenant leases are full faith and credit of the U.S. government. In doing, that's some of the most credit-worthy tenants that are in the whole REIT industry, and accordingly, even in good times and bad, we have access to capital, both debt and to equity. What's been very interesting during this time is that developers have basically run into illiquidity and have not been able to fund their projects. And with the Trump administration and the modernization in leases, they're looking at things from a commercial perspective on behalf of the people of the United States. So they look at track record, they're looking at balance sheet, they're looking at our ability to complete projects. And for a long time, we were competing on development projects with a small developer who may know local politicians, but maybe didn't have the balance sheet to complete a project. Today, we're winning projects because we get things done on time and on budget. There's an FDA lab in Atlanta that we're finishing. It's about a $400 million facility. The U.S. government wanted to build one of these in Denver, Colorado. We gave them a bid, and it turned out that what we could do for them was about a third of the cost relative to where the U.S. government could build that building. And it reflects, our ability as a private sector company in order to execute and get things done on behalf of the U.S. government.
How are you capitalizing on growth opportunities at Easterly?
Yeah, it's a very exciting time because as there's modernization in the government's footprint, it's a real opportunity for us to find and work with the government as a public-private partner in order to help them grow and find exactly the right facilities that help their mission. So we are working on modernization strategies in all of our facilities, again, as they return to work, as they evolve their mission, as they move forward. It's a great opportunity for us to make it better for them.
Before we let you go, Daryl, quickly talk to us about the role that public-private collaboration plays in federal leasing today.
Yeah, I mean, for the longest time, the government thinks that it can do everything, build buildings, maintain buildings. The reality is we're very good at building buildings, maintaining buildings. They're great at mission. They should go find the guys who are selling the drugs. We'll keep their facilities in great shape. And because with the government's budget, it's variable. So an agency will get more money and then be starved for money. The first thing they do when they're starved for cash is they don't fix the roof, they don't fix their facilities. And what that's led to is the government today in its owned facilities has about $80 billion of deferred maintenance. That's a huge liability on the American people. But we understand how to do that most efficiently, and we can be a great private partner to the U.S. government and reduce their costs and make it more efficient for the government workers.
Daryl, thank you so much for joining us here in studio. We appreciate it.
Great to see you, Kristen.
Great
Thanks so much.
Great to see you, too.
Take care.
That's Daryl Crate, Easterly Government Properties CEO and President. All right, well, in some other news, cyber startup Opal Security was named Notable Capital's Rising in Cyber list. And each year, this firm honors 30 of the most promising cyber startups in collaboration with chief information security officers and senior cyber leaders. Caroline Woods sat down with Opal Security's co-founder and CEO, who shared more details on the problems that her company is solving. Let's take a look.
Opal is an authorization platform that's designed to help organizations see and manage access to sensitive information and systems across the board. And this is really important because a lot of traditional approaches to identity and access management are fundamentally broken. They were built at times where people sort of thought of identity and access more as operational bottlenecks as opposed to security problems, which has resulted in a lot of ad hoc solutions as well as fragmented ownership across teams. So we're in a little bit of a prison of our own making, is what I like to say. And as of 2023, almost 75% of all breaches are directly related to identity and access misconfigurations. So the lack of clarity is really, really top of mind for everyone. Yeah.
What are some of the biggest challenges these companies are facing if their systems are broken?
Yeah, so there's a couple of main points. So one is just a lack of visibility and understanding into who truly has access to what at what depth, right? So without a source of truth, you don't have the ability to take action or do incident response at the scale and speed that is required given the fact that this is such a major attack vector. Oftentimes teams are left scrambling. That fragmented ownership means that different teams have different sort of perspectives or understanding of what's going on in a company between IT, compliance, engineering, and security. It's sort of a shared model, and oftentimes there's just a lot of confusion at play.
So how does Opal solve for that?
This is a great question. So my own background is as an engineer, having built this internally at a couple of places. We are purpose-built for that speed, that scale, that intelligence. So what Opal really does is comes in on top of sort of like the underlying systems in an organization and unifies all of that identity and authorization data, thereby allowing teams to be able to take action almost instantaneously and continuously monitor what's going on.
Last year, Opal doubled in size and also doubled in revenue. So you're growing in multiple ways. How do you keep up with that pace of growth, and can it continue?
Yeah, so slightly over doubled in size and or in revenue and team. I think that's just sort of indicative of the demand in the market for really fixing this. One of our sort of key insights in building this company was recognizing that identity, has always been a major attack vector, but is now almost a primary attack vector with the shifts right now happening, large-scale adoption of AI in the enterprise, et cetera. That need for a security-first platform in identity has become more and more relevant. Along with that, we're pretty focused on making sure that we continue to deliver the best product to market and really working with those best-in-class companies in AI, tech, and Global 2000 who are using Opal today to manage access in their organizations.
What other trends and shifts are you seeing in the cybersecurity space, just to get a sense of where it goes from here?
Oh, absolutely. And this is a great question because really big sort of shifts, next-gen technology and security often co-evolves with technological shifts like broader in the space. So the adoption of AI is really big for security right now. The fact that we now have this technology both to give agents the ability to take actions in organizations means the stakes are so much higher for mismanaged access, right? So identity is really at the forefront of every CISO's sort of risk list. That major shift also does mean, though, there's a massive opportunity to actually build that next generation infrastructure, to actually build a system that accommodates identities moving at machine speed, as well as making sure that we continue to build systems that are interpretable with humans in the loop as well.
I also want to ask you about being a woman in tech, a founder, a CEO. What is the importance of gender diversity in your field, and how are you really paving the way for the next generation of girls to evolve into cybersecurity?
Yeah, unfortunately, Caroline, the numbers aren't great, but security is interesting because oftentimes as an industry, it's made up of folks who are outliers. It's the kind of work that tends to attract and have really great outcomes for folks who think out of the box or actually bring a different perspective. And so, what I say to that is it's a strength, right? Not a weakness to actually be able to come in and maybe not be the same old, right? And that's true for Opal as a business too, to be able to come into such a legacy industry. Identity is one of those core pillars in the security markets, and to revolutionize that really takes that out of the box thinking. So I hope for other women, other girls who are interested, like, let's do this.
All right, thanks again to Opal Security co-founder and CEO Umaima Khan, and of course Caroline Woods for that interview. Up next, today's bell ringer, BlackBerry and its CEO are going to join us from the trading floor and take us through the company's latest initiatives. Stay with us.
I make them say wow.
I love celebrating companies on their listing day, and no matter where you're coming from to where you're going to, it is always so inspirational for me to listen to every company's stories and their journey.
Today is not about us, it's about each of you and every one of you, because you all come here for a reason, to empower each other, to enable each other, to creating values. We are the independent global media, and we want to be a responsible media that we provide quality content, relevant content, ethical content, truthfulness, into what we report and what we deliver. Thank you.
Welcome back to NYSE TV Live. Earlier this hour, NYSE listed BlackBerry rang the opening bell. Ashley Mascarotti is on the floor with more. Ashley, I'm going to send things down to you.
Hi, Kristen. So BlackBerry phones made a splash in the early 2000s and then they disappeared. But did you know if you have a car, you're likely using BlackBerry technology? Here to tell us more is John Giammatteo, BlackBerry CEO. John, welcome to the New York Stock Exchange.
Ashley, thank you so much for having us here. And last year we celebrated our 40th anniversary as a company. And this week we're celebrating our 8th anniversary being traded on the New York Stock Exchange. So during that time, it's been a lot of transformation as we've gone from a device type of company to a software and services type of company. And one of the things that we're really very proud about is that while the products and services can't be held in the palm of your hand, our values around security, trust, and innovation haven't really gone away in terms of the value that we create for our customers around the world.
I think transformation is a great way to describe the last 15 years for BlackBerry. As I mentioned, you're providing technology for 255 million cars, but you've also expanded in other areas in software and service. Can you explain the transformation that's taken place?
Absolutely. We are 3 distinct businesses that we're focused on. One, as you mentioned, we power 255 million cars through safety critical software solutions that power every major OEM, 24 out of the top 25 EV makers in the world, and we support all the general embedded solutions as well for things like robotics and medical and industrial automation. So that's a big part of what we're doing. It's the fastest growing segment of our business. We're continuing to invest heavily in that. The other is our core heritage, secure communications. We provide secure communications to 19 out of the top G20 countries around the world. 8 of the 10 largest banks around the world use our technology. Critical infrastructure providers, Fortune 500 companies. So that's the second division, very much the heritage and the core of what we've always done in the past is our second. And then the third is something we're really proud about, is our vast portfolio of IP. Being a 40-year-old company, as you can imagine, we've created a tremendous amount of innovation and patents and technology that we monetize in a lot of different ways. So between our QNX business powering the cars, our secure communications business, protecting the world, and the IP that underpins all of it, that's the new BlackBerry. And we couldn't be more thrilled about the direction that we're going.
I remember from even owning a BlackBerry, you've always had a reputation for being secure, and you're talking about that as your brand heritage. What steps are you taking to make sure that value proposition is applied to your other services?
Absolutely. That's, they had to rip the BlackBerry out of my hand back in the day. World leaders, leverage that technology and use that in their day-to-day lives. But I want you to really think about it from the perspective, that same BlackBerry experience, security, trust, and innovation. It may not be in a physical device and a keyboard anymore, but it's the software that underpins a lot of these governments, a lot of these institutions around the world, and a lot of the big banks. And that's how we think about providing that same value proposition, but in the form of software and services.
Yeah, I remember you were saying that world leaders use BlackBerries. I remember President Obama very famously had one. Is there anything in like 10 seconds you like to tell us about BlackBerry?
We couldn't be prouder of the direction that we're on right now. The company is firing on all cylinders, and we couldn't be more excited about the future. So thanks for having us.
Thank you so much, John Giammatteo, CEO of BlackBerry. What an incredible transformation. What an incredible brand story. Kristen, I'm going to send it back to you.
Ashley, thank you so much. Yeah, an amazing evolution indeed. I do remember owning a BlackBerry and that unique BBM feature from my college days. But so good to see, of course, the CEO, and great interview down there on the floor. All right, well, that's just going to about do it for today's live show. A reminder to our viewers, you can catch us on the streaming services that you see on your screen. We are live every weekday morning, 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern, with the opening bell smack dab in the middle, talking to NYSE leaders and, of course, those in the community. Thank you, as always, for watching, and we'll see you back here tomorrow morning with more. Have a great day.
We're here to celebrate where we've come from for the last 233 years. Today is a new chapter. Today is a new age. And I think you'll agree that the new chapter is getting off to a good start. The right idea, the right approach, and the right technology will get rewarded in any market.
We can change the outcomes of people's lives everywhere.
The leap of faith, the vote of confidence, that is why we're standing here today, getting ready to ring the bell on the New York Stock Exchange.
Innovation, space, defense, national security is great, but our mission is you.
And what we're building is really, really important for the future of humanity.
In an era of unprecedented technological advancement, companies like Voyager don't just adapt to change.
Rest assured, this is a milestone. It's an important one, but we're just getting started.
It's not the finish line. We have a lot of work to do, a new battle to continue to be waged.
So Voyager's future, best days lie ahead of us, not behind us.
The belief that every individual has the right to build a dream, to live peacefully, that is what Voyager's mission is. And with that, let's roll.